Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, and that is not Connor, it's Tim. And why is Tim here? Because we're going to be talking about Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2, Episode 1. It's called Home. It came out early. They streamed it over Facebook on like 5 days early. I'm not complaining, but they did.
Yeah.
So here we are. Yeah, we love Season 1 of Ash vs. Evil Dead. I assume, Tim, that you're also happy to have this back.
Oh yeah, I mean it's Home is a great title for it because this really felt like not just going back to the first season, but going back to the original movies, like, and everything I loved about it is just jam packed in this show.
Cool. So full spoilers for the episode, as always. All right. So we see that I was going to say Bruce. Ash is in Jacksonville with Pablo and Kelly, and they are running a bar.
Some type of crab shack or something.
Yeah, well, because Kelly and Pablo were serving, so they seem to be. Yeah, they were serving drinks and waiting on people, so they seem to be running this, I guess, a resort for college students or something.
Yeah. Looks like some type of like spring break getaway kind of place.
Yeah, but it all quickly goes to hell because deadites show up, despite the truce that Ruby made with them, and we, of course, we get the glimpse before we see them of Ruby running away from these shadow monsters that she refers to as her children. So obviously, Ash is a bit miffed. We get some great moments. We get the they play out the same moment that happened in the first episode last season, where he's jumping for the chainsaw. And I knew
great.
as he was flying towards it, and the music was gearing up, I'm like, okay, it's not going to work this time. You wouldn't do it the exact same way twice. Something's going to go wrong. And sure enough, it goes wrong and he gets hit in the head. But good fun, as well as Ash, of course, beforehand, possibly getting a mother-daughter sandwich.
Sandwich.
I believe he later calls it that.
Yeah.
So right away,
I think he says when he's talking to the mother and the daughter something along the lines of like, I don't know if this is the good weird or the bad weird, but I like it.
Yeah. So it really gets you back into the swing of things really quickly. Like, it doesn't waste a whole lot of time explaining how they get back into the world of fighting deadites or why they have a mission. It does it in one scene. And I think that's important for this show, that it doesn't lull. Like, it's not the type of show that does that. It is very sort of quick paced and.
Yeah, I mean, I think the show knows what it is. It's not trying to be grandiose and like, tell this, giant big like, epic Game of Thrones story. It's about fun, deadite blasting, gore and one-liners, and I feel like it kind of gives the fans like what they want and what they love out of the series.
It's about Kelly trying to save the bartender and only pulling out his arms, and there's just blood like gushing all over her. That's what the show is. It's in a nutshell. You get the whole thing in that first scene that brings you right back into the world. So the song that the Deadite sings to Ash makes him think, all right, Ruby's in my hometown. I forget the name of the town, if I'm honest. Do you remember?
Elks Grove.
Elks Grove. What state was it?
Ooh, Michigan, I believe.
Yeah, I thought it was Michigan, yeah. So they go back to his hometown, and they meet Ash's dad, who is kind of like Ash, but not as funny about it. He's just kind of, he immediately starts flirting with Kelly for like no reason.
Yeah, you can quickly tell that they're related. I love his name. It's Buck. Or as he says, you can just call him Cock. So it's he really feels like Ash's dad. Like he's he's funny, has kind of like a similar build. He's kind of got that like creepy guy thing going on.
Do you know what I like about this episode, actually? Because this whole thing with him coming home, and like we meet him, like he goes into the bar and he meets all the townsfolk. And by the way, Alinda, really, we had to name this woman that he knew from the past, Linda. Now, it can't be the same Linda from the movies, because the Linda from the movies is most assuredly despite the fact that there's been 3 actresses that played her,
Yeah.
4 including season 1 of this actually. Despite that, she's definitely dead. She died.
Yeah.
Unquestionably.
Well, the townsfolk even say that he chopped up his girlfriend.
In fact, one of the best lines of it is that the sheriff says that he went crazy and chopped up his girlfriend and his friends, and he's like, no, that's not true. I was completely aware of what I was doing when I was chopping up my friends. That's a great line. But what I like about all this, though, is that it's exploring something that even season 1 didn't explore. This idea of like everyone who knows him, because it's not like the people he goes to the cabin with in the movie are the only people he knows. Like, what about everyone else who knew him before he went there? How did they react to what happened? Or maybe if they didn't know exactly what happened, like, how would they react? Excuse my cats who are chasing each other. How would they react when he comes back? Like, what would the story be? How would he explain the fact that his friends are all missing and all that stuff? So I like that it's kind of exploring that. And they bring up this idea that he's seen as this, like, town, you know, the shame of the town, because he's this nut job and they don't want him around. And of course, Ash, in typical Ash fashion, like, stands up and like gives a speech and tells them all to, you know, suck his dick, basically.
Yeah, you think by the way he, you know, acts a lot of the time that, you know, he would be like the hometown hero, and that's probably how he kind of thinks of himself. But really, when you get to see the perspective from everyone else's eyes, he's kind of like the you know, like the shunned guy, the you know, one that no one wants around, no one wants to talk about.
Well, that's kind of Ash's character. He's the goofball who thinks he's the hero. Well, that's who he is. Yeah. So Pablo's still getting weird visions because of the mask, or the face of the book being on his face and all that, and he gets like visions of weird things. He's drawing this face. Oh, by the way, that him holding up the picture of that he drew of. It's supposed to be Ruby, but it's like a kid's drawing of just anyone.
Yeah.
But he gets a vision of where Ruby is, and it's like the local town crematorium.
Crematorium.
Possibly abandoned. It seemed abandoned. It didn't look like a functioning crematorium.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure most crematoriums now are just like in the basement of like funeral homes and stuff.
Yeah, and I think they're usually not that big. This felt like a pretty big, like it seemed more like maybe some type of like plant or something.
Yeah, it felt like a factory or something like that. It was huge. But what we get here though is we get a lot of really cool, creepy moments with these shadow demons, these monsters that Ruby calls her kids, who can like. And we get some fun moments as well, because we get like Ash thinking that his shadow might be working against him, and that's like a very Evil Dead thing, because he fights himself in the movie and all that. And the Ash kind of like attacks the shadow kind of attacks him and all that.
The feeling I kind of got from this was like the first season, I got a little bit more of like Evil Dead 2 vibes, and then like this episode, I got like a lot of Army of Darkness vibes. Like I feel like there was a lot of like, you know, I mean, at least comparing to the first season, in my mind, it seemed like there was a lot more jokes, a lot more slapstick. You know, not that I'm complaining at all, because I thought they were all really great, and you know, I thought they really, you know, for the most part, all worked for me.
I agree and disagree with what you just said.
Of course you do.
Well, I agree that it does feel more Army of Darkness, mainly because they bring up this whole thing that he's in the book and he's holding up the chainsaw like he has an Army of Darkness. Like, so it does feel like it's connected more to that movie now. However, I don't agree that there's more jokes than last season. I feel like it was just as jokey, just as rapid last year.
I mean, I have to go back and rewatch the first season, but I don't know. I feel at least comparing the you know, like first episode of the first season, the first episode of this season, this one felt like a little more jokey to me. But maybe it's just because it's been a whole year and I haven't I only watched it once, you know.
Yeah, maybe. But no, so during this whole section, everyone gets separated, and Kelly has her whole thing where she shoots up the walls and the blood starts pouring out, and she like almost drowns herself as a result. But we get some really creepy moments with these shadow people, because these monsters are actually pretty creepy. Like, for as goofy as the show is, and as goofy as Ash's like villains tend to be, these actually had some genuinely sort of like, you know, macabre like looks on them. Like the moment that I really love is when the main one comes in close to Ash, and Ash like shoots him, and he just like looks up and smells at him. Like, it's actually a really like chilling look he gives him, and it's like really, it's almost like the Joker, the way he looks at, the way this monster looks at Ash. It's really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I really like when it's like kind of crawling slash walking towards Pablo, and its body is all distorted and kind of like bent over backwards. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, again, that was really creepy too.
Yeah.
And that basically sets up the plot of the season, is that Ruby is losing control of these monsters, and she needs Ash and her, and Pablo and Kelly's help to fight back and regain control of the underworld or whatever. And I like this twist on it. I like that it's starting with her needing him, and it's not just him caught up in something. It's that she's, despite all the goofiness, despite everything else that comes with Ash, he is in this book as some sort of prophecy that he might actually, he is the Hefe.
Yeah.
So I like that this spins it on its head, and it's like, no, she needs his help, and that's going to be the plot of the season. So that sets us up for the rest of the show. So
definitely. You skipped over one of my favorite parts of it.
Oh, by all means.
I absolutely loved the vision, or I guess not vision, hallucination, whatever you want to call it, that Pablo gets, where he rips his own face off. I thought that just...
Oh, yeah. That was one of those, it felt like, even though it probably wasn't, and there was probably a lot of CG help and all that, it felt like a very old school, fake, face ripping off scene, from an old movie.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I always watch, they have little minute-long clips or so at the end of kind of just a little behind the scenes with the makers and stuff talking about it. And after this one, they showed some of the behind the scenes filming stuff, and it was just so cool seeing so much practical effects. They were showing the bar and the blender scene with the bartender, and it was funny, just everything was just covered in a white tarp because there's just so much blood going on. And they specifically were showing that face ripping scene, and they're talking about how they use Jello to kind of help with it. And like you said, I'm sure that they use CGI to spot it up in places, but it feels like a lot of it is using practical effects, which,
because he's sort of ripping off chunks of flesh, and you can see the skull coming from underneath, and it's just it is a really cool and it's very Evil Dead as well.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I love about this series is it feels so in that universe. It's not just some cheap knockoff or cash in reboot or whatever of an old franchise that people like. It feels like this is a natural extension, and when I watch it, it feels like it's paying homage to the kind of effects, and even sometimes the camera angles and shots and stuff feel very reminiscent of the series. And
that reminds me, one of my favorite transitions in this episode.
Oh, I think I know what you're gonna say.
Is when Ash says, "Oh, that's the crematorium," and it cuts to this Dutch angle, which is when it's slanted for people who don't know what a Dutch angle is, and this organ music comes in. And it's this perfectly cheesy haunted house music that just comes in as it cuts to the crematorium, and again, it's that sense of fun that the show really does well. So
I actually sorry, I thought you were gonna say there was a really cool transition shot where the camera kind of goes completely upside down and then pans up, and then it goes up into I think it was Kelly.
Timmy, let me stop you right there. Cameras don't pan up.
Oh, whatever. I'm not even gonna.
Panning.
Okay. I don't even give a crap.
Left, right is pan.
Right, sure. Okay.
Up, down
fine.
is tilt.
Whatever. All right, fine. Yeah, whatever. Okay. I don't even care. Never mind. I thought we were gonna talk about a cool scene, but whatever. I don't care.
What you said, Tommy?
I honestly don't care.
No, go on. What was the transition?
Don't even worry about it.
Tell me, we're not ending you going in a huff. Go on.
Just that scene was really cool where the camera flipped upside down and then it went up and then it goes up into the next floor where Kelly's drowning in the blood. I just thought it was a cool transition. I didn't need to know all the technical terms for all the camera pieces and whatnot. You freaking film school nerd.
Oh my god. Oh, well, I hope you've enjoyed this ramble, and it has been a ramble, especially when Tim's on instead of Connor. As much as I hate Connor, and I despise Connor, don't get me wrong. Like, there is no love lost there. He is, oh, he's the worst of the worst. But there's a different brand of worst that I get when I'm talking to you, Timmy.
Yeah.
It's,
Don't I know it?
it's really quite spectacular. So, thanks very much for watching, guys. Let us know what you thought of this episode of Ash vs Evil Dead in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Of course, if you like me and Timmy discussing, possibly arguing, maybe ripping each other's heads off, check out...
I don't even get it. Even when we agree, we argue, so...
Yeah, that's true. Check out on this channel, you can check out our Tales from the Crypt reviews. We've started working our way through every single episode of the old Tales from the Crypt show. We are 3 episodes in at the time of posting this, and we're doing that once per weekend, and it's been good fun, so check that out. I've not seen them before, so I'm having a blast working through them. And also over on the Mailed Fuzz Movies channel, me and Tim do horror movie reviews on Screams After Midnight, so check that stuff out too. So thanks for watching, guys. Obviously, this show usually airs on a Sunday, so the episode 2 review won't be up for like a week on Sunday. You know, it's going to be like a longer gap because this one aired early. So
yeah, that was my only complaint, because I was like so excited for the next episode, and then I remembered like, oh well, this Sunday is just going to be the same one.
Yeah, sorry, Timmy.
It's okay.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.